most clinical trial site mergers, they focus on patient databases, focus on sponsor contracts, and geographic expansion. Now, those are all important things, but it's the wrong place to look. The real risks aren't in your revenue projections. They're buried in compliance issues that can destroy your deal before it even starts, or worse, as you near the end. Now imagine this. You merge with a site that looks great on paper. Numbers check out, staff is experienced, and sponsors are interested. But 3 months post-merger, the FDA, or worse, the DOJ, they knock on your door. Why? Because the site you merged with has an unresolved 483 inspection, undisclosed protocol deviations, or effectively served as a way to give kickbacks to physicians. Now, instead of scaling operations, you're dealing with regulatory investigations. You're dealing with warning letters, or even worse, potential fraud issues. This is not an exaggeration. It happens all the time. And what's the worst part? Most of these risks could have been spotted before the merger. Subscribe to the DarshanTalks podcast for more insights on regulatory pitfalls and clinical research mergers. The key due diligence steps you need to take before merging clinical trial sites. So if you're in clinical research, whether as a site operator, a CRO, an investor, or something else, this is what you need to be looking at. Number one, IRB approvals and regulatory compliance history. Every site operates under its own IRB approvals, protocols, and investigator oversight. Are you merging with a site that's already under FDA scrutiny? Number two, review past FDA 483s and warning letters. Number three, ensure that all ongoing studies have IRB approval in good standing. You'd be surprised how common this is where you have a problem. Confirm that any past deviations or adverse event reports have been properly addressed. If the site has compliance violations, they don't disappear after the merger, they become your problem. There is successor liability. Site contracts and investigator agreements, where the clinical trial sites sign contracts with sponsors, CROs, and vendors, that can be a problem. But are these agreements actually transferable after a merger? Ensure sponsor and CRO contracts aren't site-specific, otherwise they may not transfer. Then, review investigator agreements, because some contracts are tied to specific physicians, not to the site itself. Verify the site's financial disclosure reporting. You don't want undisclosed conflicts of interest post-merger. Now, clinical staff and investigator oversight is also important. A site is only as good as its investigators and clinical research coordinators. So if they don't have clean compliance records, your M&A transaction could have serious problems. Confirm that the PI's credentials are valid and up to date. Ensure that all investigators have completed appropriate and required GCP training. Review any past protocol violations that are tied to individual investigators. Review payment structures. Are they percentage-based or are they fee-for-service? Is the doctor receiving free rent? One investigator with a bad compliance record can put your entire site at risk. Then there's obviously the data integrity and patient safety issues. Data integrity violations are the fastest way to tank a site merger. If the site has a history of data fabrication, poor source documentation, or patient safety concerns, expect the FDA to get involved. Ensure that there are no missing informed consent forms, and that's a huge red flag. Check protocol adherence records to ensure that the site actually follows procedures properly. I'm curious, what's the biggest compliance red flag you've seen during a site merger? Let's be honest, this is new, so drop your experience in the comments, let others learn from you. Merging clinical trial sites isn't just about expansion, it's about ensuring that you're not inheriting hidden compliance risks. That's why the Kulkarni Law Firm helps clinical research sites, CROs, and investors conduct due diligence before finalizing a merger. We help with the regulatory compliance audits before a deal closes, contract reviews to ensure that agreements transfer properly, risk assessments for DOJ, ORI, OCR, OHRP, and FDA compliance history. Time to address these issues is before the merger, not after. Talk to us before your deal closes. I can't wait to hear from you. Call, click, or email